everybody, and welcome to Let's Talk Sketches. I'm Allison Cope, and we are now on episode number 5. So I'd like to show you sketch number 5. All right, this month's sketch is relatively simple, and it has a few funky lines, but that's okay because they'll be easy to deal with when you're making your card. I'm going to change up my black and white sketch for a colored one to make things easier for you to see. Now, if you are new to sketches, which I'm coming to realize that we have quite a few members that do not know what a sketch is, basically it's kind of like a design to get you started for a card. Here is sketch number 1. And comparing our sketch to our card example, I really, honestly, haven't really changed a thing. Even though I've put a border around the edge of my card, I haven't changed anything. I have 3 basic triangles. I have a basic rectangle with a banner cut end. But this is where I've kind of added a little bit. I've used my rectangle to put my sentiment, but I've also used it to ground my little golfer dude. So even though there's nothing to indicate in the sketch that there would be something there, the sketch is still represented in the card. So you can have fun that way. So my golfer doesn't even exist as far as the sketch is concerned, but that's where it still looks like the sketch, doesn't it? On to example number 2. All right, here is card number 2. And this is where I've taken a little bit of creative liberty here. You can see the rectangle right off the bat, but can you see the triangles? Let's find out. I'm going to go a little closer and bring you in. And if you follow the cloud down, there's kind of a triangle here. And I've taken the liberty to add another cloud just for a little bit of added texture, but there is another kind of triangle shape in the clouds above. And once again, I've taken the liberty of adding something like my sentiment and my little boy here to the basic sketch. So it's not specifically indicated in the sketch, but the sketch is still represented. Now, a lot of you are wondering, okay, so I have my sketch and I created my base card. What about finishing off with the embellishments? Well, that's a personal thing. And because my card was kind of superhero themed, I thought, I have some sparkly stars. I thought that might work. And I got out some sequins, even though it's supposed to be a masculine card. I thought, what the heck? A little bit of glitter and stars never hurt anybody. So in finishing your cards, think about your theme and then go from there. Maybe you have an embellishment that you already have in your stash, or you can create one with a die, or you can create one with a stamp. Maybe you could have stamped some stars on here instead. So embellishments are a completely optional thing. I mean, when you have a basic sketch, you could do anything. One panel could be embossed, another panel could be striped paper, another panel could be completely stamped. That's where sketches are wonderful. They're your starting point, and you take it from there. Okay, on to example number 3. Here is card number 3, and you'll be like, Allison, this doesn't look like the sketch at all. But it is. So let's bring in our sketch again and do a little comparing here. If you look at the sketch, there's your triangle here, your green triangle. I've also represented that as the hill, right? This is a single layer card, and basically there's no layers of paper or anything like that. It's all within the photo or the design of the focal point. So your triangle isn't represented by paper or embossing or anything like that. It's actually represented in the design. So once again, my other hill here is represented here, my blue hill and my little background hill. And my yellow triangle is now the sky. Now I've taken some liberties once again. Instead of my rectangle being here, hanging off the upper part of the card, I've used my little gnome here to represent that space that rectangle takes up. So I've actually shifted this down. Still looks like the same sketch. See those angles and everything within those hills, but the rectangle is slightly moved. So let's go back, do a quick review here. Our sketch, 3 triangles, and a rectangle, and of course, that's the original orientation. Quick and easy. Nothing new except for our little golfer taking up some space on the design. We have our little super guy here, and we're using our clouds as our triangles. We have a banner cut, and once again, plopping something over top of the design. This could be a cluster of flowers. It's whatever you want. And finally, number 3 is embedding it within the design of your focal point. So once again, those triangles are represented by hills, and sky. And my rectangle is represented by a focal part of my card. So I'm going to now take this sketch here and I'm going to show you how I got to this design. So stay tuned. I'm going to share how I made my panel for my 3rd card. Enjoy! I'm probably going to speed things up and do a little bit of voiceover, so I hope you enjoy this. Let's begin.
So I first took my masked images, which were from the You Know Me from My Favorite Things, and I'm just showing positioning here of what I'm going to look like. There's going to be a couple of hills that these little critters are going to be on and behind. So I'm going to start by just placing my mushroom in to see how high I need to stamp my little my gnome. And then I stamped him, and I took the mask by the Inkadinkadoo paper and placed that over the gnome, and then stamped my larger mushroom, and then masked it as well. Then I stamped my smaller little mushroom, and placed a little mask over it as well. Then I took a piece of copy paper, which I had cut, and added some adhesive to the curved edge, and I'm going to now stamp my gnome head stuck kind of behind the hill, and I'm going to add the mask there as well. Then I'm going to add my second mask to create a second hill, and I'm using Salty Ocean Distress ink to add some sky, leaving the top a little bit lighter. And I'm going to carefully remove those masks. They can tear, and I'm going to mask off my second or my back hill. And I'm using some peeled paint distress ink, and I'm adding my ink over top of that mask. And just building up the color by adding increasingly more ink. When I was happy, I peeled off all of the masks for the landscape, and now I have masked off using the copy paper again, using the back hill and the sky, and now I'm using the same peeled paint distress ink to add the hill in the foreground. So I'm going to remove all my masks carefully, and I'm always store my mask right on my stamp set.
So I just went in with my Copic multi-liner, my 0.5, and traced out our little landscape. And so we're all set to color with our Copics. Now, if you run into an instance where something like this happens, where your line is not completed, that's where these come in again. Just use that to tuck that little line underneath, and now it doesn't even look like there was a mistake there. So I'm going to color my images, and we're going to fast forward through all of that, and we'll show you at the end. Okay, everything's colored. I stamped a simple hello from the same stamp set, and I'm going to use my white Jelly roll pen here. If I can get the ink going. And I think to ground our sentiment here, I think we'll add some grass underneath it too. And that's the basis for my card. I have eliminated the banner or the rectangular square from my card today and kind of incorporated it in the sense that this guy is kind of vertical in the same mannerism as the sketch. I'm going to finish off the card and I'll share it with you in just a moment. Thanks guys for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed my cards and my coloring tutorial. Please click that thumbs up button and I'll see you next time with sketch number 6.